back. All right. So in chapter 7, we're going to look at applying the Python concepts that we've learned so far into preparing a data file. So we'll read data into data frame and look for errors, and fix those errors, and do some modifications, how to handle missing values. So 3 things mainly: cleaning typos, and then if you have missing values, what to do about missing values, and then transforming data. Sometimes we have to create new columns from the existing data. So transforming data. So these are the 3 things that we're going to do, and here's the list of things that we will be covering. So let's start with running the 2 libraries, and we will be using some new libraries in this chapter, and I'll introduce those libraries when we get to that point. All right. So let's go ahead and read this file that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. Okay. So this is a CSV file of customers, and we're going to promote the customer ID column into the index. Okay, so this file where is the data? Okay, let's look at the data for just a second. Employee EX customer. Where is it? Oh. Oh. Okay, so here EX customer. Okay, so I want to open it. Oh, it's opening in Excel. Oh, anyway, it's a CSV file, so it's opening in Excel. So it has customer ID, it has name, street address, city, state, zip, customer phone number. Okay, so those are the columns, and the first row has the column IDs. So when I run this code, so the customer ID gets promoted as the index, and then we have name, street address, and other pieces of data there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, okay, well, quite often the typographical errors will be in the form of typos for strings. So whenever there is a typo, the column would end up being a string. So very rarely you will have typos in a numeric column. Okay. Numeric column, there could be, because sometimes you may have an extra number or something like that. But we'll get to that. But first, we're going to look at typos in string columns that are object data type. Okay, and the 3 functions that we use quite often are these. str strip will remove all the padded spaces. If there are blank spaces at the beginning or at the end or in between, so white spaces, including line breaks, would be removed. And then you have the R strip and L strip, if you remember way back, R strip will strip blank spaces on the right, L strip on the left side. Okay. Then str replace is what you use to replace a string inside. Okay, there is a typo inside and you want to fix that. Okay, so, and then str, there is an S missing there. Str split is to split data. So we will start with str split actually. Okay. Then we are not going to get into what is called regular expression, and Python has a regular expression library called RE. And you can download it and use it. And RE is a very extremely powerful way of handling strings, okay, and making changes and cleaning and things like that. And it is a big subject by itself, so we don't have time to get into that. So we will not be using regular expressions, but you know, it is a good skill to have. And if you have the inclination and time, I would very highly recommend you taking a look at regular expressions, and there is a lot of resources available. Okay, so now that we have read the data in, okay, so let's say the first thing we want to do is to split the name column into first name and last name. Okay. Maybe we want to sort by the last name or something. Okay, so we want to have it split into that. Now this column right now is very easy. You know, it's easy actually because there is only first name blank last name. Okay, but very often it's not going to be that simple. So there may be some middle initials sometimes, and there may be some suffix at the end, as junior or third or whatever. So it could be very complicated. And once again, we are not going to get into all those complications. So how do we split this into two parts, the first name and the last name? Okay, and this is the column that needs to be split. Okay, and we use str split. Okay, so that's the column, and we're going to do str split. Now when you do str split, so what's going to happen? So if you take that, right, and when you do that, when you run just that split, so each row is not split, but it is entered as a list. So the first name is split into two parts, Maria and Anders, and that's a list. First one is the first name, the second element is the last name. Then the second one, again, two elements, and it is a list. Okay, but that's not very useful for us. We want to be able to put it back into the data frame df1. Okay, now we don't want to put it, you know, if you just put it back in there, so these will go in as a list. We want the first names to be in one column, the last name to be in a second column. So when you split, you want to put them in two separate columns, right? And that's what this expand equal to true will do. Expand equal to true. Okay, so now it's separated the two into two columns. You don't have a list anymore, and you have the customer ID. You know, it's picked up the index, and then it has 0 as the name of the first column, and 1 as the name of the second column. So that's what this part does. So split expand equal to true, it creates two different columns after splitting. Okay. Now you can put that into two new columns. So it's the same data frame df1, and then you give two names in a list. So the first set of square brackets is for indexing. The second set of square bracket is the list of column names that you're giving. So there are two column names. The expand will read and split it into two columns, and then you give two column names. So those split two, the two columns of names that we have split will go into F name and L name. Okay. And then we want to drop the origin. We don't need this original name anymore. So we delete that column. You can do a del df1 name, or you can do it this way, the drop function. There are more than one way of doing it, as we have seen before, three ways actually. You can do a dot drop, or you can do a del, or you can do dot pop. Pop also will remove the column. Okay. And when you use dot drop, you have to specify which axis. Okay, it's a column, so axis equal to 1, and in place equal to true. Okay. So now when if you run that code, then you see that the F name and L name got added here, and the original name is gone. Well, I'm sorry. So I was in the wrong place. Start from here. We don't need this anymore. So I run this code. So you have the what? Okay, so here we have F name and L name at the end, and the name column has been removed.